And again, I have to close the windows. Well, hello there, or moin as we say here in Hamburg, and welcome to Stitch-Ilonka. Yes, my name is Ilonka, it's spelled with an I but pronounced with an E. And welcome to my stitching channel, where I talk all about cross stitch, and I recently started crocheting as well, so you might find one or the other crocheted piece on here too. Welcome to my new subscribers. I have a few, but that's not the thing. You know, that's usually how I start these videos, so I'm just rambling on. I'm happy that you clicked on my video again to spend some time with me, and yeah, I have a rather interesting, I hope interesting episode planned for you today. And so just let's get started. So I as I said last time, I went on vacation again, so I haven't had that much time for stitching, but I did crochet a lot again. So I went to the southern part of Germany to attend a play in a small village in Bavaria, and I'm going to talk about that, how it came to be, and what the very special thing about this play in that village is at the end. So if you're interested, stick around, and I'm going to show you some pictures and some footage that I took. It's something that's very dear to my heart. So yeah, and if you are kind of interested in how different Germany can be from where I am right now, within a few hundred miles, then yeah, just stick around. But I have, of course, also some stitching for you, some things that I started, and I wanted to talk a bit about the loss of my stitching bug. And you know, I heard that I've been watching a lot of Flosstube. I mean, I had to catch up with a lot of Flosstubes lately because I've been on vacation for the last three weeks, and I've been doing other things, and I haven't always had the time to sit down and listen to it. And so I've been catching up on a lot of Flosstubes, my dear friends, and some of them are still missing. I hope they're doing well and they're enjoying their summer. But some of them also said that, yeah, they had a bit of a struggle finding their stitchy bug or finding their groove amidst this whole heat wave and summertime and being outside a lot, and children being on vacation, being at home a lot and doing something with them and stuff. So I can relate because I have been grabbing a lot more of my crochet hook than I have of my stitching. I mean, I am very happy about my Lowery stand. That is wonderful. I have it set up in the living room right next to the sofa, and so it's really very easy to just grab it and start stitching. But if the project that's on this Lowery stand doesn't speak to me or doesn't call me that loudly, I will just leave it where it is. And you know, getting up, switching it out, or finding something new involves moving, and that also involves sweating, and that is not nice. So yeah, didn't I tell you that I'm also the queen of excuses? So if you are ever short of excuses, just call me. I'm gonna have some ideas of who you can blame or what you can blame it to if you cannot do something. Anyway, so but I also think that you know, like, because I am so relying so much on this Lowery stand, I rarely pick something up and hold the hoop or the Q-snap in my hand and then stitch. And that was maybe also a problem when I did the stitching retreat the other month here in Hamburg, where I haven't stitched at all, or maybe like 20 stitches or something, because I wasn't used to holding my Q-snap and not stitching two-handed as I usually would with my Lowery stand. But anyway, So yeah, I have been doing some thinking and some wondering why, and I came up with a few issues or a few things that might be responsible for me not wanting to stitch that much, and I will talk about that once we get into the whips, because I can relate it to the certain whips that I've worked on, because I realized what was wrong with them. So let me just, I'm looking over there again to my computer where I have some notes so that I don't forget anything. And so I think we can crack on with the whips. Okay, so my first whip, it's the Summer by Stitches Through the Years. And I said I wanted to take it out of the Q-snap and show you the whole thing once I move the Q-snap. And I was about to do that, and then I realized that I had sewn it like to the fabric, and so the fabric is wrapped around now. I think, but it's good that it's not attached to the fabric, it's just attached to the threads that do the serging here on the outside, so I can fix that quite easily. But yeah, I think I'm going to do that right now. I have to see how I can fix that. Do you see that? Anyway, so yeah, here it is, the whole thing so far. Yes, it looks good. So this is the winter, spring, and summer is down here, and I still have space for the autumn down here. And since I last saw you, I suppose I did the bird, the heart, and this tulip up here. And there are just, like, again, something like this, like a vase on this side, another medallion down here, and another small heart down there. And then summer will be finished. I didn't make it in time this time because it's September the 1st already today. Which actually starts the autumn months, but I suppose I can give myself until the 21st, because I suppose that's when the meteorological, if that's the right word, autumn starts. So yeah, I'm gonna cut myself some slack here, but I think I can already see that it was really a good idea. I have to thank Mrs. Schmidt, who suggested to put it all underneath each other in on one piece. I have to show her once I finished. But yeah, the variegation on these flosses is not as crazy or is not as visible as it is on other flosses up here, but I still love it. I'm not sure if it shows up that nicely as it should be. This looks in camera, this looks rather dark, but it's actually a nice burgundy deep red. It's all Weeks Dye Works colors. This one is called Crimson, I believe, and this is Williamsburg. This is Williamsburg. Also a nice burgundy deep red color. And the autumn that still goes underneath there is this one with some acorns, and I can stitch my initials in there, and that's gonna close out the year. And then I can start with the Quakers that I showed you last video. So yeah, this is how far I am, and I have to say, looking at it in total really makes me happy. So yeah, I wanted to start this during a Zoom call, and I did, but I was just a few letters along. This is really not good. Wait. So I wanted to start this during a Zoom call, and I was a few letters in when I realized that the fabric had a hole somewhere in the middle, and since I'm stitching this 1/1, I couldn't risk getting to that place and not that being a place where I can, you know, like pull the fabric together with the thread. So I had to cut a new piece and start all over. this is a yellow piece that I just had to mark my beginning. I need to take that out now. Anyway, so this is a dark blue fabric from a Austrian company that I bought on during my vacation. I am talking about that more in videos before, and this one is Miss Useda's Scale Silk yarn, and these are just the first few letters, and since I'm stitching it 1/1, it's not really that, you know, the color impact is not as big as I hoped it would be, but the colors under the letters underneath here, they will get bigger, and so that's when you can really see the floss a bit better. But yeah, this is actually, I'm quite happy that I finally started it, and that I can, you know, that kind of makes me want to stitch on this more. Yeah, another one that I picked up was this one, Move Forward in Love. And that's where I realized that I was running in, or that I was kind of thinking about why am I not stitching on this. So first of all, I thought, well, this was a sale. This was the Pride Month sale by Modern Folk Embroidery, and Pride Month is already over. And I suppose, and I've seen so many beautiful already finished pieces on Instagram and everywhere. And so I was like, yeah, well, I missed out. I'm not ready yet, and you know, moving on to other things, and you know, crazy thinking. And then I watched Kaylee CrossStitch's video, because she's back again, and she made her first real Flosstube video after a few weeks, just, I don't know, like last week or something. And she was holding this up too, and she hadn't finished it either. And so I was like, okay, I'm relieved that I'm not the only one who's behind, so I might pick it up again and stitch on it. And then I realized why I didn't like stitching on it. I need something to back it up again, because I'm stitching it on a very loose linen. It's a 28 count linen that I actually bought for a different project, but this linen is so loose and so fine, a 28 count, that I stitched over 1. And stitching over 1 with DMC is it's not because of the DMC, but stitching over 1 on this one really is tedious to me. Because I cannot see that well. I have to take off my glasses, and my eyesight is so different. Well, anyway, so I cannot see that well in this tiny stitching on this very odd linen that has very big chunks and very thin chunks. So I just think that it's the linen that I'm not enjoying that much. Although I have to say, I am now. I was changing the design anyway, so I was not stitching all these crazy vines that are around here, but I would just wanted to do the colorful edges around here, so I will not have to stitch, you know, stitches in between other stitches, because that was really what got me, like with the words and stitching inside these lines and stuff. So I am powering through, but I really, now that I know that it's the linen that I don't like, I'm more relieved that I haven't really lost my stitching bug, and it's not hiding under a fridge somewhere. It's just that I didn't like the fabric. And but yeah, I will be powering through, and it's okay not to finish it within the Pride Month sale that it was intended to. So yeah, I'm gonna work on that sporadically and hope that it will get finished one day. I still love the color combination. I love this green. It's Helene. I'm gonna put the name of the color down here. But yeah, 28 count linen is not for me, I suppose. And on that same linen, I have been stitching, if you remember, this Biscornu that I still haven't finished. I have finished the top part, at least, and I've finished that for quite a long time. But the bottom part, that would be like the same dimensions, the same width, has a lot of back stitching, like just lines, and just like here. And the floss was slipping under the linen threads and stuff, and I was really having trouble, and so I just put it aside and haven't worked on it since. And now I'm looking at it and I said, it's so nice, this one, and I want to finish it, so I will just take a different piece of fabric for the bottom part and just sew it together. It's not as intended, but if I find a different fabric, maybe just a plain white, tighter fabric, that I can put underneath, and I can at least finish this one. And yeah, have a final Biscornu. And although this was a birthday present actually for a friend, and her birthday was in May, in May or in April, no, in May. But I can probably finish it by Christmas, so I can give it as a Christmas present to her. Oh, and because this has beads on it, this reminds me of something. A friend of mine who has done this beautiful mama sampler that I've shown you a few episodes back, who is this self-taught, I'm not buying patterns because I'm doing my own pixel art and trying to replicate it on fabric. He is also a chef in a very, very nice exclusive burger restaurant here in Hamburg. And this morning when I woke up, he sent me a picture of a design that he is currently working on, and he designed a cheeseburger, like the burger buns and the different like lettuce, tomatoes, cheese, beef and everything, and made some bigger crosses on top of the burger bun. And then it has a phrase around there, and I guess that's an insider joke for them. But anyway, so I was like, well, if you want to have real sesame seeds on top of your burger bun, I can look through my bead stash and see if we can put some beads on top of the burger bun once it's finished. So I will definitely keep you updated when this comes in. But yeah, do you think this is an affront? No, that's a French word. Is that like is that possible? Can I just take a different piece of fabric to finish this one out, that is not the same color linen but a different even weave, maybe a white one that I can put underneath? Please allow me to do that. I need your help. And then I also had this strange rules that I set for myself that are quite stupid, which are, you know that I'm also a very nerdy stitcher, so I like stitching something that relates to the TV series that I'm watching, and especially these nerdy ones like Star Wars, Marvel, whatever. And so I started a Star Wars piece, the ATAT Walker. And now that I'm looking at it, this is what it looks like finished. And I don't know, 45% in or something. And I'm stitching this on 25 count, easy count 2/110 stitch, yes. And I put it away because I was like, okay, the Obi-Wan series is over, and now I cannot stitch on it until the Endor series comes out, because it's currently not Star Wars season, so I cannot stitch on this. I know. I only have to wait until the 23rd of September, because then the Andor series will come out, and then I can go on stitching on this one. Yeah, but also, you know, because this one kind of has the Q-snap still on it, and I don't want to take off anything off the Q-snap and put the Q-snap towards a different project, because once it's off the Q-snap, then I am not likely to pick it up and start stitching on it. But now that I have like a set date where I will pick this up again and start it again, I will probably take it off the hoop, take it off the Q-snap and stitch something small on this Q-snap. Which I will show you in a second, because there are some other series that are going on right now, or will start soon. One is, no, the other one, I'm gonna show you the other one first. I've been a huge fan of the Supernatural series. And if you are a fan of Dean and Sam Winchester too, you might probably know what these figures mean or these symbols mean. And I have been telling my boyfriend for years and years that he will definitely enjoy the series, and if he wants to watch it with me again, rewatch it. And he was always like, oh, I don't know, I cannot commit to a new binge watching series, whatever. And we've recently started it, and we're already on season 5, and he loves it, as I, of course, knew. So anyway, I had this pattern, which is by, so I've had this pattern, which is by CrossStitchFoxy on Etsy, in my favorites, saved in my favorites for ages. And now I finally bought it and downloaded it and already cut the piece of just plain gray fabric for it right now, today. And I'm starting on this week, I vow. So yeah, so that I can have something that is just 150 across and 40 high, so it's really not that much, and it's on an ATAT. That was also something that I was pondering about, you know, like I cannot start this one because I don't have any fancy, I mean, I have a lot of fancy hand-dyed fabrics, and also, you know, I have some cool fabrics, but they are somehow too precious to me to start something on if it's not perfect. And I cannot just stitch this one on plain old gray ATAT because it has to be something fancy. You know, I was just putting this pressure on myself to create something epic. And so I wasn't starting anything because I thought it wouldn't be epic enough, which is stupid, and I know that. And so I cut a piece of gray ATAT, 16 count ATAT, which was my favorite anyway. I took out some of the darker, like dark brown and black specialty flosses that I have, hand-dyed flosses. I'm going to show you which one I'm using eventually once I started it. And I'm just going to stitch it. I'm going to stitch it. It's going to be finished in a short amount of time, and I'm going to have the satisfaction of another finish. And even if it's not an epic, wonderful, beautiful, the most amazing thing that you've ever seen, it's okay, because I have the satisfaction of stitching something that relates to the things that I'm doing and that I like, and it's on my wall, and I'm happy, and you know, I can go on then. And the same one with this, because tomorrow, September 2nd, we will have the premiere of The Ring of Power on Amazon Prime. I know this is a hobbit hole. It's called Evening in the Shire by CutePatternsByMaria on Etsy. It's a lot of backstitching, It's actually mostly backstitching, and then just a few crosses here and there in the sky and stuff. But I love it so much. I have been eyeing this one for ages, and now I bought it, and I realized that this blue fabric that I bought on fur as well during my vacation will just look perfect with this one. I'm gonna stitch, this is a very wide, I would say like a 22 or something, 22 even weave. As I said, it's from an Austrian company. And I think this blue is just perfect. Sorry, this blue is just perfect for this type of pattern, and the yellow dots will look amazing on this one. And I am just going to start it. And maybe it's, you know, if I cannot get through the backstitching and it looks horrible, at least I've tried it and not just sit here and wonder if it works or not, but I'm gonna try it. So yeah, this is also one start that I will hopefully start soon. Also, I bought a few weeks back, as you might remember, I bought this one, the Resting Stitch Face, which was a Nashville market release by Hands On Design, and I bought it because I wanted to stitch it. And again, I was like, there has to be this amazing fabric and stuff and yada yada yada. that kept me from just starting it. And I have a nice fabric, this Belfast linen by Zweigart, and I have it already cut out. It's a wonderful lavender color. It's 32 count, so it's dense enough for me to stitch over 2, which is nice for me. And I'm gonna switch out the colors of the hair to match my hair. Shall I just also put some gray streaks in there? Shall I give in to the grayness of my hair? Sorry. And I'm gonna make the glasses a bit darker and stuff. And so, yeah, I bought it because I wanted to stitch it. And I have been holding back and not wanting to stitch it because I thought I didn't have the most epic fabric for this, which is just stupid. So I am going to start this already on this beautiful lavender fabric. And it's really not a big one. It's like, it's 60 by 60 or 61 by 65. It's really not big. So I can do this within a short amount of time and at least have a satisfaction of a finish again. I guess that's also something that kept me from, you know, going on, because I have these rather big ones that I cannot see progress on that easily. So yeah. And the same with this one. I've shown you this before. Puntini, Puntini, please enter your pin. It's a freebie on her website. And since I was cutting this lavender fabric, I cut another piece of lavender fabric to finish this one on. And I want to have this tiny little pin cushion. I downloaded it. It was sitting on my desk. I was looking at it all the time. And I was again like, why am I not starting it? Now I am. I was thinking about what else is it that keeps me from, you know, stitching, just freely stitching away whatever I want. Was, as I said before with the Pride sale, there are these sales, and, you know, once they're finished, or for example with the TV series, once they are finished, it's not, you know, I am not seeing it as often, and I'm not reminded as often of this, and the time has just passed, and, you know, that the moment has passed and I'm not stitching on it. And that is really just a stupid thing. But here we go again. There's another hashtag, which Somi Sarah reminded me of. I watched her latest video this morning, and it is Sampler September. And guess what? Who came out with a new sampler motif just yesterday? Michael Star Parade. He made a Quacker. Look at this beauty. Isn't that just amazing? We were on a Zoom call the other day, and he was just stitching it. This is the mock-up, and this is the stitching. I'm gonna link his Etsy shop below. You have to look at this stitching. This is on a dark blue fabric with a variegated white thread. This is just a flimsy printout from my printer anyway. So he was holding it up, and he was showing it, and I was like, excuse me, isn't that just the greatest? He is so funny, this guy. He's also the one with the bottoms up, with the goose, the duck in the pond with his tails up, saying bottoms up, but that I was stitching on last time. So yeah, this is a Quaker. And do you see this little rubber ducky in the bubbles? And these beautiful swans with their heads together forming a heart, and the pond with the fish in it. I just love it. Well done, Michael. I love it. But again, I need to find an epic, wonderful fabric and color combination. I cannot just stitch this on white fabric with some black floss. It has to be something epic. Help me, please. Speaking of haul, I'm gonna have my next small stitching retreat next weekend in Essen, so in the western part of Germany. And there is this one of the few bigger brick and mortar cross-stitch shops that also have an online shop, and they are close by, and I hope that I will be able to, you know, pop by and see if I can find something with her, because she also has Picture This Plus hand-dyed fabric, and she also has the complete Weeks Dye Works. I have to buy new floss for the autumn Weeks Dye Works stuff anyway, so yeah, I think I might have a look around there. But other than that, I haven't bought anything cross-stitch wise. I've bought a few things for my crochet. So yeah, I'm gonna just go over to crochet now. It's not that interesting, I suppose, for you, because some of the cells that I'm doing are in German, but I want to show you how my handbag is coming along. And if you remember, this is wool from sheep from that island that I went on vacation a few weeks back, and the pattern is coming along quite well, but I saw that I might still have to have another one of this dark blue color to put on top here, because otherwise it would just be, you know, it's a wide bag. It's got a wide berth, so to speak. Is that the right word? Is that it's meant to be a bit taller. It's meant to be a huge bag, and if I just you know, end this skein, it's going to be too small for me. So yeah, this is how far I am with this one, and I think I'm going to have another row of this dark blue on top of there, and then I have my nice shopper. And since I'm a new crocheter, I was just going around buying yarn cakes at these huge department stores because I didn't know any better. And what I found was why I also crocheted these bags, that they collapse in the middle. And for this one, for example, I had to, you know, I pulled on the string and a whole bunch of yarn came out, and it took me like forever to untangle it and kind of prevent it from tangling even more, so that I can go on crocheting this Halata. See, it's already falling down. This Halata shawl. And what I didn't realize, it's still at that weird stage that I showed you last time, but you know, what I didn't realize is that it doesn't have to be that way, because I bought a new cake from a German store, from a small store, who sells hand-wound, custom-made cakes. And this one, I can even hold it up like that and you can see through it. Do you see that? The wound, is that the right word? Like the way it is, you know, wound together. I just hope it's the right word. It's so stiff. It holds so well. It doesn't tangle at all. The flosses, the 4 strands, are not twisted around each other, but they are lying right next to each other. And I am so amazed. And I'm not just amazed by the colorway, because it goes from a wonderful rosy, dusty rose, I'm going to show you the pattern in a second, over to a creamy, and then over to a wonderful light creamy brown, a cool creamy brown. And I am so happy with this one. I think I'm not going back to buying from Hobby or from anyone else ever again. I'm not vouching to only buy from her, because she's a tiny German store here. Not just from her, but also from other people who are hand winding their own yarns. And this is where I am with this one. It's a crochet along that started last Friday, and we have the first 2 parts with some puffy stitches here and some holes and stuff. And yeah, this is part 1 and 2 of this one, a German crochet along. And I'm quite happy with that. And I also bought another cake for another crochet along that will only start in October. Oh, and the sun is coming out. I think I'm gonna have to reshoot everything because now that the sun is out, I can show you the colors better. No, I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, this is a, it's called Stonehenge. Also a 4-ply cake from wonderful icy blue to a nice, cool gray and white. And this is gonna be another kind of a wraparound that is starting in October. So yeah, I'm very, very happy. And I will kind of, I mean, Michael, under my last video, he commented, and by the way, I am so sorry that I haven't gotten back to you with the comments, because when I'm not sitting at my desk, I cannot think. I don't know about you, but if I want to reply, not if I want to, if I reply to you, I am doing this sitting down at my desk, sitting upright, not slouching on the couch, but really thinking about what I want to reply to you. And since I haven't been at the table for the last few weeks because of my vacation, I wasn't able to think that much. So yeah, anyway, so he commented under my last video that he was so impressed with this regional yarn from that island that he actually wants to see if the local yarn stores that he shops in, if they have similar things, and to kind of be more mindful about where to buy these things, because this is I mean, this is cotton, but you can easily, I mean, the nature provides wonderful materials that you can do wonderful things with, you know, linen and sheep wool and everything. So yeah, it's worth going through that with, or thinking about that and going through that with open eyes. Okay, so much for my crochet. And if you are still here, I want to tell you a bit about Oberammergau. There is this tiny village. I'm going to insert, while I'm talking, I'm going to insert this here and there. I'm going to insert some pictures. So there is this tiny village in the southern part, in Bavaria, here in Germany. And during the Black Death, during the plague, they were kind of safe. Because they were, you know, a tiny village, they kept isolated, everyone, you know, they just kept to themselves. And up until one day when one person came into the village who brought the plague with him. And so people started to get sick and started to die. And so the village people, no, like the mayor and stuff, they came together, and it was, you know, around 1633. So they were, you know, vouching to God that if God would kind of save them from the Black Death, they vouched to do the Passion of the Christ as a play every 10 years. And ever since that pledge, it's said that no one died of the plague ever again in that village, because they made this pledge. And yeah, so they did that. The next year, they kind of, you know, put on this play, and ever since then, only with a very, very few exceptions, they put on the Passion of the Christ play every 10 years. And as you might imagine, over the last, I don't know, like 100 years, it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. I remember when I was there with my parents and my brother in 1990, it was still kind of a tent and a wooden stage, because after the play, after the summer play, they would take down the tent and everything, and the whole place where the theater was would, you know, would go back to normal use spaces there in that village. But they soon realized that they would have to, or that they want to kind of build a real brick and mortar theater dedicated to that play, and they are not just playing that Passion of the Christ play there, but also play different operas and stuff. So they are, you know, more open to that now as they were a few years ago. So in 2010, my father and my mother went there with their godson. And now in 2020, of course, due to the happenings during that time, it was, oh, I have to, yeah. One very important thing is 2 years before it's due, like in 2018, all men in Oberammergau stop shaving their beard and stop cutting their hair. And because they want to have a grown-in beard and they want to have long hair just as they would have had back in the days during Christ, you know, during that time when Christ was on the earth. Anyway, so that it would look better on stage. And you might imagine that when they pulled the plug in, so the play is during May and October of that year. So they only decided in March of 2020 that they wouldn't be able to do the play due to the pandemic. Of course, they couldn't host people, the hotels were closed, everything was closed. So they just pulled the plug 3 months before the whole circus would start. And I'm not sure how much this had of an impact on this whole village, because the hotels, the tiny, you know, guest houses, everything is kind of, you know, concentrated towards this huge happening that is happening every 10 years in that village. They are planning everything. It's a big deal. The whole village is involved. So if you are born in that village, or if you have been living in that village for at least 20 years, you are eligible to be able to participate in the play. And this stage, I don't know if you can imagine that this stage is huge. You know, once there was a part when it was a bit slower and I wasn't really listening. So I was like, okay, the stage is filled. It's not full, but it's not empty. So the stage is just like, you know, there's still some space around it, but it's filled. It's just good to look at. And I counted the people being on how many people were on that stage at that time, and it was 63. And I was like, okay, if there are 63 people on the stage at the Hamburg Opera House, they would be standing shoulder to shoulder. So this stage is just huge, and the stage is open air, and the audience sits under this brick and mortar building that they build now. Anyway, so everyone, it's a huge privilege to be able to participate in that play, and they have some very huge scenes, you know, when Jesus comes into the city, and they have just people standing around cheering and doing stuff, children playing around at their feet and stuff. So there are like 180, 200 people on stage at the same time running around, and they are all from that village. And yeah, it's just I don't know, even if you are not into this religious thing, or, you know, I talked to some people and I said, well, we're seeing the Passion play, and they were like, oh, I don't really like the church, you know, that's not really something for me. And I was like, well, for me, it doesn't have to do anything with the church per se. And even if you are not a Christian, even if you are not of Christian belief or anything, you can still enjoy the feeling of being there, being in that small village in smack dab in the middle of the Alps, where there are tiny hotels, and the whole city is painted, the houses are painted. They are all dedicated to this happening every 10 years, and it's just a marvelous feat of work and of ingenuity, of kind of commitment of the whole village to do this every 10 years. And that is something that I found really moving at that moment, being there, because there's a huge choir. The choir consists of 60 people, and again, they must be from that village. There is one who is really a trained opera singer who is living in, I don't know, Salzburg or somewhere, like outside, but she is coming back because she was born in Oberammergau. She's coming back every 10 years to sing in that choir. And this is just this huge dedication and this marvelous feat of community that you feel when you are there. And then there are 100 plays during the summertime. They only have Mondays and Wednesdays off. Otherwise, every day they are doing this play, and every day around 4,000 to 5,000 people have to be fed during a 3-hour period where you have recess. You know, like the first part of the play is 2.5 hours. And then you have a 3-hour period of, you know, just a pause, and then another 2.5 hours where the sun slowly goes down and the lights in the theater slowly go on, and you see the sky behind the stage. And oh my God, the most amazing thing happened. The most amazing thing happened. We had a thunderstorm. It's really odd, because you're sitting there in a house watching this play, and above the stage you can see the clear sky, and it's getting darker, and suddenly a huge flock of birds fly up, and you see the clouds forming, and then you see lightning, like very distant lightning and everything. And the whole play builds up to that moment when when Jesus gets nailed to the cross, and it's getting darker, and the lightning, and the choir sings, and everything is ending. And you know that this huge emotional moment, and the choir just sings its last hallelujah, and they're holding this tone and ending it, and then there was this huge lightning over the stage, and it was as if it was a CGI thing, just, you know, to be happening at that moment. It was just amazing experience. And I met some very nice women from the US there because we were standing in line. You know, they had to search our pockets and everything, our bags. And they were standing behind me, and I was just listening to them. And one of them said, you know, and at that precise moment when he gets nailed to the cross, and I was going around, I was like, hey, no spoilers. So we were talking a bit, and they were like, oh, you're from Canada, right? And I was like, no, I am German. I don't know how they got a Canadian accent. I don't know that. Maybe just because I said hello or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, it was Chinese people from all over the world, huge buses, Americans, whatever. It was just, it's just an amazing feeling to be there and to witness this spectacle that is just happening every 10 years. So yeah, and they had to postpone it, of course, due to the things that were happening. So they didn't do it in 2020, so they did it in 2022. So the beards were even longer and the hair were even longer. And then on October the 3rd, no, that's a bank holiday in Germany, on October the 4th, all of the hairdressers in this village and in the adjacent villages all have a full schedule, because all of the men go to the hairdressers and get their hair cut and get their beards shaved off, and they have a huge celebration and everything. So yeah, it's just a wonderful thing. Then the people are just so nice. They are so nice. And of course, it's very touristy. It's very, you know, memorabilia and stuff, and, you know, commerce, and you want to take pictures and you want to buy stuff. But nevertheless, they are just very, very wonderful, nice and hearty people. And it was just a wonderful thing. And I was happy that I could show my niece this, because in 10 years, I don't know what she's up to. So it was wonderful that we could do this together. Yeah. And then, of course, the next day we got to the Zugspitze, which is just half an hour drive away. And it's actually one of the most southern points in Germany, and certainly the highest point in Germany. It's 3,000 meters up. And we went with a gondola, is that the right word? So right up to the top. And of course it was so cloudy we couldn't see a thing, but we went up there. We watched some people climbing the summit to that golden cross that's on top of there. And of course, again, I bought some memorabilia. I actually bought this pin that I am thinking about Zugspitze. It says Zugspitze and 2,962 meters. So that's the cross that's on the summit, and I'm gonna turn this into a needle minder, I guess. Yeah, and we visited some amazing churches around there, huge golden interior, just amazing visuals, all in all. And then I realized that I have been through the whole of Germany within 2 weeks. Like, I was at the North Sea on Föhr, which is one of the most northern parts of Germany, and that was only like 2.5 weeks ago. And then I stayed in Hamburg, and then I went to Hanover to my father's, and then we rode down to Mainz, and from there we went to the Zugspitze and all the way back again. So I was at the most northern part and at the most southern part in Germany, all within 3 weeks. And it was just amazing to see how the landscape changes, how the people change, how culture changes. I don't know if you have that where you are from, that it's really, because I sometimes think that in America you can travel 4,000 miles and the people will still be the same. Is that an exaggeration, or is that just a prejudice that I have because I've never been to the US? But I sometimes imagine that the culture and the people don't change as much. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, going these 1,000 miles through Germany within a few weeks was just an amazing thing to see and to experience with my father and my niece. And yeah, so that was a very interesting summer that I had. So yeah, if you stuck around, I'm happy that I could tell you a bit about this wonderful tiny German village and show you some pictures and some footage. And yeah, I hope we will see each other again in 2 weeks, and then I will tell you a bit about the retreat that I did in Essen, and I will hopefully have stitched up a few tiny things and got my stitchy bug back and lured it back from under the fridge. Okay, my lovelies, have a lovely day. And oh yes, I'm going to talk about sharing the love next time, because next time is my 1-year Flosstube-versary. It was the 8th of September last year when I put out my first video. Gonna have to think about what I'm going to do next time to commemorate that. We'll see. Have a lovely time until then, and happy autumn. See you then. Bye bye.